Good morning, this is David with Monofit Training Systems, and we are going to do another 5-minute fundamentals. And what we're going to do right now is the goblet squat with a kettlebell. It can be done with a dumbbell too, and I'm going to show you that. But basically we're going to go over the posture, range of motion, tempo. Okay, so I have my kettlebell here. It's kind of light, but just for demonstration purposes. So what we're going to do is make sure that we have this handle, or that we grab it by the horns or the handle of the kettlebell so that your hand is nice and snug up against the base of the kettlebell or the bell part of the kettlebell, okay? The other thing we're gonna do is we're gonna make sure that whenever we lift weights, we keep the handle or the weight itself as close to our body as possible so that we don't put any undue stress on our low back. A lot of issues happen or a lot of problems happen when you're not keeping the weight mobile, you're not keeping the weight still while squatting, or other movements where the resistance needs to be isolated and controlled, okay? So a lot of times people, when they do a goblet squat, they'll squat and the weight fades, kind of drifts away from them. That puts a ton of strain here on the low back. What you want to do is you're going to keep that kettlebell touching your body, drop those elbows down. I see some people doing this. I'm not sure if there's a benefit to that. If there is, let me know. Put a comment. Let me know why you would do it that way. But what we're doing here is we are going to keep our chest up nice and high. We're going to have our feet shoulder width or a little bit wider than shoulder width apart. And we're going to descend straight down until our elbows touch our quads. Okay, I'll show you another angle with the dumbbell. So, straight on, if you have again, hold it here, maybe wrap your fingers around like this. Okay, and again, you're gonna want this thing to touch your body. You don't want it to drift away from you and cause any kind of stress in your low back. And this would be the case if it was a 80 or 100 pound or a 20 pound dumbbell or kettlebell. Okay, so feet kind of shoulder width apart. Make sure when you're squatting that all your toes and your heel and the outside edge of your foot are engaged with the bottom of your shoe. If you're working out barefoot on a mat or something like that, same thing. Make sure the toes, outside edge of the foot, and heel are all engaged with that floor, okay? If you start to roll up onto the balls of your feet, then you're changing the load and you can hurt yourself, okay? So get those elbows tucked in, butt back and down, knees out. When you're squatting, don't think about squatting where you're bending your knees and your weight shoots forward. Instead, think about squatting and your butt goes back like as if you're trying to shut a door with it, okay? And then you push your knees out. What that's gonna do is engage every single muscle involved with that movement. Okay, so hopefully that gave you a little bit of insight and information on how to get a good squat in with a kettlebell or a dumbbell. As always, write down what you're doing. If you're doing 3 sets of 15, 3 sets of 12, whatever it is, make sure you write down goblet squat, kettlebell or dumbbell in parentheses, and then, you did one set was 20 times 12, then you did 25 times 10, then you did 25 times 15 or something. Always write it down on a piece of paper. Keep that piece of paper with you. Keep that in a journal, keep it in a composition book, but make sure you're writing it down, the date, everything. You always want to track your progress because it helps you not only with the logistics of programming workouts for the future, but it helps you be able to look back and go, I did this. 3 weeks ago I used to do this weight, now I do this weight. And it's just really good psychologically to let yourself know that you're making progress. So hope that helped, and I'll see you again on the next 5-minute fundamentals.